Hello students, today I am going to discuss model of memory given by Atkinson and Shiffrin. Okay, let's begin. Its characteristics. It is a multi-store model, it is a structured model and information passes from store to store in a linear way. What does it mean? It means memories are not just stored in one place. But actually memory consists of several stores, and you can see just in front of your screen that memory consists of stores according to this model. There are three stores: sensory memory, short-term memory and long-term memory. So it is also called a multi-store model of memory because they are more than one store. It is a structured model because you can see the structure here. This is the structure of memory according to them, according to this model. This is the structure of memory. That is, it consists of three types of memory. And information passes from store to store in a linear way. So you can see here, from one store to another store to the next one, it is moving. Information is passing from one store to another store in a linear way, in a sequential way. That's why it is called. This is what we mean by model of Atkinson-Shiffrin model of memory. So they suggested that human memory is organized as a system with three stages. They proposed their model in the year 1968. So we will study its types. We will study these three types of memory in detail. First is sensory memory. What is sensory memory? See, the information from the environment first enters a sensory storage system, which they call the sensory store system as sensory registers. Pay attention. They said what they said. They said it sensory register. So this is sensory memory. So what is your sensory memory? See students, we all receive information from our environment with the help of our sense organs. We know our sense organs. That is eyes, ears, nose, likewise. Now, what is responsible? Who is responsible for getting this information from sense organs to the brain? This is your sensory memory. Sensory memory is responsible. So sensory memory is what we see, what we hear. This is your sensory memory. This is the first stage of memory and it is brief. Its duration is brief. The amount of information is greatly reduced during its transfer to short-term memory because short-term memory capacity is not large enough to cope up with the input coming from our sensory memory. Its duration is brief. Most of it is lost. But if you pay attention, it enters a short-term store. So what is its capacity? Its capacity is unlimited. All sensory experience. It includes all sensory experience as well as it is detailed. Sensory memory, its capacity is it's large and it is detailed. We get detailed information because when we see an object, we also see its shape, its size, its color. Similarly, when we hear something, we also take into account its tone, its loudness, and its pitch. Moreover, it is an automatic response. We cannot manipulate what we see, what we take in information. We cannot manipulate. We have to take the sights, we have to take the sound in its original form. So this memory, it creates something of a quick snapshot of the world around us. Okay? Its encoding is basically sense specific, different stores for each sense, for eyes, for ears, likewise. Different stores for each sense organ. So it is sense specific. It is all about its encoding and its types. It's of two types: iconic and echoic. Iconic is your picture based. It is your visual memory. For example, when you see light trails, when you see light, the tracks of light, the path of light, what happens is this is a phenomenon when bright lights move rapidly at night. So what you perceive them as forming a trail, as forming a path, as forming a track. This is your iconic memory. The image that is represented is your iconic memory. Okay, and what is your echoic memory? Echoic memory is your sound based, auditory. When you, for example, when you stand at the edge of a valley and scream or yell at a highest possible volume, what happens? The sound, it echoes back to you. This is your echoic memory. Okay, so this was our sensory memory, its duration, its capacity, its encoding, its types. Then is a short-term memory. What is short-term memory? First of all, when we attend to our sensory details, it enters a short-term memory according to this model. So what is short-term memory? It holds a small amount of information information, approximately 7 items, for a shorter period of time, approximately 20 seconds, 18 to 20 seconds, in an active readily state. This is very important. Active readily state. Now its duration is not more than 20 seconds. Information quickly lost from a short-term memory unless we pay a conscious effort to retain it. If we rehearse, information will be stored, but if we will not rehearse, information is lost immediately. That's why we all feel a distinct desire to finish our tasks that we are currently doing. If you are doing something, you feel a distinct desire to finish your job as soon as possible, because you think, and because you know that the duration of short-term memory is limited. If some interference comes, if somebody distracts you while you are doing something, information is lost from your short-term memory. Okay. And what about its capacity? Its capacity is 7 plus minus 2. 7 plus minus 2. 7 plus 2 is 9. 7 minus 2 is 5. So approximately 5 to 9. Its capacity. We cannot ignore the contribution of George Miller in this context. George Miller, he gave us magical number 7, sometimes referred to as Miller's law. So what he said, the number of items an average person can hold is between 5 and 9. Okay, but we can increase the capacity of our short-term memory with the help of a technique called chunking. What is chunking? Chunking is we can organize our material into shorter, meaningful sections to make them more manageable. In this way, we can increase the capacity of short-term memory. Otherwise, it is limited. It is limited to 7 plus minus 2. This is in memory span. But we can increase it with the help of chunking. For example, suppose you have a long shopping list, say 12 items to buy. It's difficult for you to remember. So what will you do? You can use chunking. You will break the list into smaller groups. You can make 3 chunks instead of 12 items. For example, if shopping list contains items such as apple, banana, carrot, cauliflower, butter, milk, curd, you can make 3 chunks. You can make 3 categories, say fruits, vegetables, and dairy products. Thus, we can improve the amount of information we can remember. Okay? In this way, we can increase the capacity. So now, I'll come to its encoding. Encoding in short-term memory. It is basically acoustic, auditory, sound-based. Acoustic is sound-based. What is acoustic coding? You store information in your short-term memory in terms of sound. Items can be kept in short-term memory by rehearsing or repeating them verbally, silently or loud. For example, when we keep on repeating phone number or email address until we get a paper or pen to write it down. So what we do, you keep on repeating number again and again, so that you don't forget it. You basically use acoustic coding in short-term memory. Okay, so this was our short-term memory. Next is our long-term memory. If we rehearse information, then information enters long-term memory from short-term to long-term. It enters a long-term memory on the basis of rehearsal. Basically, maintenance rehearsal. That is repeating information again and again. Acoustic. What is long-term memory? As the name suggests, it is relatively permanent and organized store. Okay? Permanent, organized store. Its duration is unlimited. Its capacity is unlimited. Its encoding is basically semantic. Now, its duration is unlimited. Why? Because, information remains in long-term memory for longer periods of time. Very simple. We don't forget our remote. We don't forget our very old memories, our remote memories, significant and important experiences that occur long time back. We don't forget them. those experiences, those significant and important experiences of our life, we don't forget them because its duration is unlimited. The skills that we acquire also remain intact because of its duration. Now its capacity is also unlimited. We can keep on adding information to our long-term memory. It is not affected by the new information. This is the beauty of our long-term memory. It does not displace the older information. For example, when we learn new words or concept, our older concepts and previous knowledge, they are not affected. They are not affected at all. We don't forget them. So this because the capacity of long-term memory is unlimited, and its encoding is semantic, that is on the basis of meaning. Because when we encode something on the basis of meaning, on the basis of understanding of a concept, it will remain in our long-term memory. It will be better placed in our long-term memory because we are focusing on the deeper level, because we are using elaborative rehearsal, because our memory traces are stronger if we understand the concept, if we use images, if we use associations, if we use link, if we use our past experiences. So encoding is basically semantic in long-term memory. Okay, so this is our model of memory given by Atkinson and Shiffrin. So they basically talk about multi-store model. They basically talked about it, the three parts of memory. They basically talked about structure of memory. These are the three stores. Environmental stimuli first enters our sensory memory. If we pay attention, it enters our short-term memory. And if we rehearse, basically maintenance rehearsal, if we keep on repeating our information again and again, it enters our long-term memory. So this was our Atkinson and Shiffrin model of memory. The keywords are its types, that is sensory, short-term and long-term, their encoding, their capacity, their duration of each of these memories. Please pay attention, and please pay attention to the rehearsal process in this context. Okay students, hope you understood. Pay attention to this model, revise it again and again, and do well. Take care. Bye bye.